For centuries, the Galactic Concord had believed it could manage the galaxy's chaos through diplomacy, structured peacekeeping, and soft-handed influence. They prided themselves on their bureaucratic efficiency, on their legions of mediators and crisis de-escalators, and on their careful balance of galactic politics. When the Karnak's brood rose from the void beyond the starless halo, consuming colonies by the dozen and rewriting species into biological code chains, the Concord hesitated. Petitions were filed. Emergency councils convened. Debates raged over the correct ethical response. And entire worlds fell. Billions died as bureaucrats debated the meaning of acceptable losses. The Concord, ever hesitant to appear aggressive, issued a pangalactic distress beacon. Not a call to arms. Not a declaration of war. But a plea, for assistance, for humanitarian relief, for support. The beacon traveled across the stars, echoing into long-forgotten sectors, hoping to reach any civilization willing to help. And it did. It reached Earth. The species marked dormant, non-aligned, and low activity in the Concord archives. A species that had once walked the halls of the Concord Council centuries ago, before suddenly withdrawing without explanation, vanishing into the depths of their home system. Most thought them extinct. A few suspected they had simply chosen isolation. No one expected them to respond. But they did. 62 hours after the distress beacon pulsed into the void, a rift opened near the outer edge of Concord space. Not a jump gate. Not a warp trail. A rift, like the fabric of the galaxy itself, had been pushed aside. From it emerged a single vessel, HFY Deliverance, black, silent, angular, and unlike any ship recorded in Concord databanks. It bore no flag, no transmission codes, and no visible weapons. It hovered in place for 3 minutes, motionless, scanning. Concord observers scrambled to identify its origin, cross-referencing archaic Terran signatures, confused by the silence. And then it moved, not toward the nearest diplomatic hub, not toward a fleet command, but directly into Karnak's controlled space. Unannounced. Alone. The Concord assumed it was a mistake, perhaps an old AI ship that misinterpreted the call. They issued warnings. They tried to redirect it. But Earth did not reply. As the Deliverance approached the brood hive over Televar 6, a planet mid-conversion into biomass, the Karnaks reacted. Thousands of biomechanical ships launched from the planet's orbit, forming clouds of armor, claws, and blood-fueled cannons. No one expected the Earth vessel to survive. The Concord Command Fleet prepared to observe and record its final moments. But what happened next was not death. It was erasure. The Deliverance did not fire weapons in the conventional sense. It simply shifted. The space around it twisted into unreadable equations. Sensors failed. Cameras glitched. And when clarity returned, the entire Karnak swarm was gone. Not destroyed, gone. Not a single piece of debris. No heat. No explosion. Only empty space. The planet below, once writhing with conversion tendrils and black spires, began to implode from the center outward, folding into itself like collapsing code. In less than 4 minutes, Televar 6 ceased to exist, replaced by a perfect, silent sphere of black stone hovering where a planet once rotated. The Deliverance moved on. It entered the next system with equal silence. This one housed a converted star. The Karnaks had turned it into a living furnace for spawning new hives. The star blinked. Not dimmed, blinked. And where there had once been fire, light, and planetary orbits, there was now nothing. The Concord's live feeds returned static. Every sensor within 10 light minutes shut down, either burned out or overwritten by something they could not explain. Panic spread among the Concord's highest ranks. Messages were sent directly to Earth's last known relays. What is this? What are you doing? One reply came, simple and direct, via untraceable transmission, you asked for aid. This is our response. It was not delivered in anger, nor in arrogance. It was a statement of fact. A reminder. The Concorde had summoned aid. But Earth did not send food or medical relief. It sent judgment. For the next 72 hours, Deliverance moved from system to system. It operated alone, required no resupply, and never repeated the same method twice. Sometimes the brood vanished without warning. Sometimes the sky turned red before a storm of energy devoured entire moons. In one system, the stars themselves rearranged into a warning symbol from ancient Earth, a radiation hazard sign, before detonating in silent bursts. The Karniks, once feared as unstoppable, tried to respond. They adapted, evolved, fused their hives together into megastructures, launched attacks with time-bending weapons and matter-inverting shields. Nothing worked. The Deliverance was not bound by the galaxy's rules. It existed in a state the Concorde scientists could not define. It was part weapon, part machine, part entity. Some believed it was piloted by an advanced human AI. Others whispered that it was no longer a ship, but an idea made real, forged by centuries of Terran preparation, quiet study, and isolation. Eventually, the Karniks' brood collapsed. Their central hive mind flickered across the galactic network, sending one final desperate scream into the dark, unknown entity. No inconsumable. Avoid. But it was too late. The brood was gone. Not conquered. Not destroyed. Removed. Cleanly. Completely. And as the final Karnik signal faded, the Deliverance returned to the place it had come from. Folding space around it like a shroud, vanishing without farewell. No demand. No claim. No alliance. Just, gone. The Concorde convened for an emergency summit. All records of Earth were unsealed, and what they found terrified them more than the brood ever had. Earth had not been sleeping. They had been studying. Watching every rising threat. Modeling every enemy. Preparing tools not to fight battles, but to end them. They hadn't built an army. They had built a response, something cold, final, and absolute. The Council attempted to send gratitude. They even drafted a treaty of renewed inclusion. Earth did not reply. But in quiet places, on outposts, on deep space listening stations, messages began to appear on terminals, usually when no one was looking. Just 5 words, displayed for a moment before disappearing. A Terran reminder. A warning. A promise, you are not ready yet.